It is now time for a new premiere, a live premiere, and I want this game to happen with all these different characters. We only got 20 characters that's in this game, and just doing the digging and the research. I didn't play Shrek SuperSlam, and watching some of the gameplay, I wanted to be able to add more to it. Just take a look at the screen, just all the different characters that are on this. It looks great. You got How to Train Your Dragon, Boss Baby. See him in the back, top left. Falling a little bit behind. It's on one of my favorite tracks. One of my favorites, if not my all-time favorite. The Galactic track. I like this track. It's almost like its own Rainbow Road from Mario Kart, but it's done its own. It's done in its own right, in its own unique way from DreamWorks for taking it to the skies above. Got we got How to Train Your Dragon. We got Kung Fu Panda characters like Po and Tigress, just on the right side, and then we got Shrek in the middle, and then some of the troll characters. Some of the trolls. We got Poppy, and I already forgot her name. That's already on the back by the spoiler of the track. And then you got Puss in Boots and all the different characters, other additional trolls from the Troll series. If you watch the movies and seen them, they can also be playable characters. But I wanted to change something completely different and come out with a new idea. No one's talking about this kind of game and what it could be. And I think just watching Shrek Super Slam, it made me want this game even more. And I want this game to be something that they work on. I'm not sure if it's going to be something that's happening, and I'm not saying it's confirmed. It's just an idea, something different to talk about with some of these characters, and some of the characters that you guys can see from the design, from the thumbnail. It's just something. It's just some of the characters that I think could be able to get into the game, where most people can really be able to get excited about these products. So it's not just being Left 4 Dead like this game did, and it's something that I didn't like. This game came out, and it was just left in the dust, and no one else is really playing the game. And within, just a fun little fact I'll throw out there for everybody who's going to be listening to this today, and even in the live chat, you can react to some of the characters that you see in the thumbnail, and you can make the changes or critique it if you want, and talk about what changes you will want to make for some of these characters, because we got a good amount of characters that's in this, but it only matches up with Shrek Super Slam that also had 20 characters, because I did not play that game. I did not experience the Shrek Super Slam series for that one game. It seems like it was only one game. It came out on different platforms, and then I also found out from just doing some research today before we start getting into the ideas. This might be a little bit longer, but the timestamps will be in the description for everybody to click on to really pick what you want to listen to. So just going based off the design, these are just some of the characters that I want to see get in. You got Chicken Run, Ruby Gilman, Felix the Cat, Captain Underpants, Z from the Ant series, which I think is underrated. People don't mention some of these often. Jack Frost, the villain Pitch Black, and um the Abominable series with Yi and Everest, and then just some of the basics, the bad guys, and more that you guys can see on the screen here. I'm just looking, just from going off the design I have now, that you guys will see when you guys click and watch the video. It could be bigger, and I'm not saying that could be the base. Let's see, the 15 characters that you got, 15, 16 characters. That's not the base roster. It can be so much more, and see how they did this. Got Megamind. You already seen the bad guys, Mr. Wolf and Diane. On the right side, you got Master Shifu, Po, and Tigress. And in the settings, you got Boss Baby, the boss himself, calling the shots, just chilling on the screen. See all the animations? It's really well made, and it sucks that this game went down the drain within its first weekend. During its first launch weekend, people already started getting all the characters unlocked, and they already got everything unlocked, and they skipped the unlockables in the garage, and we're going to get into those. But from these characters, just as y'all can see, it's just some of the characters I wanted to see. So I'm not going to, I already made my platform wish list. I already built my own roster, but I'm expanding on what I want to see changed and what they can do better and what they can bring back from Shrek Super Slam, from watching some of the gameplay, doing the research, and finding out what that game had to offer, what modes was in the game that players had access to, so they could be able to try the game out and the lot characters, how many characters is in the roster, and so on and so forth. But this is just a new idea of what I want to see in this kind of game if it does happen this year. I'm not guaranteeing, I'm not banking on it to be something that they'll be able to go for, but if they do, whichever it is, if this game gets a sequel, let's just bring it up right now. See the challenges. I'm going to be talking about some of this stuff throughout the video, and once this, just talking about this history, it just was short-lived when it comes to this game. It's just messed up. They got the challenges. See all three, all six. I was gonna say all three. See all six of the characters. Every character that you see, 6 of the characters are from a different DreamWorks world or a DreamWorks animation. A DreamWorks animation movie. All new DreamWorks characters can be able to get in outside of these that are missing. They're very likable. King Julian, Diane Foxon, got Tina, King Julian, Gristle, King Gristle, 2 kings. Imagine that. 2 different kings. Megamind from Megamind himself, and you got Farquaad from Shrek himself, who believes in that magic mirror, things like that. It's cool to see that, see this different variety. But we're gonna end up bringing it up on the roster and just start talking about this game. The one thing that bothers me is how it's been a constant pattern. Let's just go to, maybe we'll just go to the garage. It'll be easier, so I won't have to keep on clicking in and out. See, it'll be easier. The one thing that bothered me the most about this is with these games that they've been coming out with, it's been a constant pattern of 2 to 4 characters, little to no patches to fix bugs that inform the players about the plans for the newest titles. They didn't really talk about anything for this game, and I'm trying not to laugh. They didn't talk about anything, and then on top of that, there was no way for the players to really find out what's next for this title. This is the base roster. The base roster stops at Megamind. It ends at Megamind, and that's gonna max out. It's gonna max out at 20 characters on the screen, and then if you buy the paid DLC, it has Death the Wolf. See how they changed his name, Wolf, instead of Mr. Wolf. See how they're highlighted and the text is in red. These are paid DLC characters from the Rally Edition. If you don't buy the Rally Edition, or you don't buy the Rally Pack, which is sold separately, just in case you decide to get the physical copy of this game, you just won't be able to have access to these 2 characters. And it's been a constant pattern with some of these games. Not even just this. Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 did it too. It maxed out at 4 characters, and we didn't get anything else. And see how this game came out a couple of days, I think a week or so prior. It came out in 2023 within the same month of November 2023, but this one came out November 3rd, and then a little bit after that, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 came out. So within the same month, they weren't too far from each other, but they suffered the same fate. But this one just didn't last as long as Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 did when it comes to post-launch content and updates and changes and things like that, because it did not get anything. It didn't get any sort of updates whatsoever to patch, update it for new characters, tracks, for stages, and players to really be able to get more to do within the first weekend from its launch. It was already gone. The players moved on. They got all the characters. Videos came out and posted the gameplay, and that was it. And they started playing a different game. But it's just something that I just didn't like, because this game didn't have a dedicated page like Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 had, because players were able to quickly get information and stay up to date on the latest news for character reveals that were coming into the game from Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. It didn't have what that game had was constant updates to keep people excited and get people hyped for the game. It just so happened to drop, and then that was it. End of the story. It came out, and that was the end of this game within the weekend. But it's something that I wanted to see more of. They even did giveaways for Kart Racers 3 where players could be able to guess the mystery characters leading up to the game's release. In a nutshell, long story short, DreamWorks never got that treatment. This game could have been had more than the characters that we have right now. It didn't have to stop here. Grandmaster Oogway and Duff, he's a great character. He'll be awesome to see to return as a playable character, as a fighter, with all the combat abilities that these guys can be able to implement for the next game. And that's something that really just left a sour taste in my mouth just thinking about this, and how even now, even from this weekend, I now got everything unlocked. I don't have anything else to do in the game, and no one's playing the game. It's really messed up just to really say it. And now it's just, you're just playing the game, just doing the same thing. It's just nothing to do. So there's nothing to do as far as the online, and just showing you guys this. I'm just talking about the history of this game and what happened to this game, and I want them to do better before we start getting into the ideas for this first segment. You get into a match, you just don't, it doesn't matter what you play from an online cup. I turn off the voices. Let's be Shrek himself, since he got his you know what? Let's be one of the DLC characters. You guys can't hear them because I turned off the voices, but they talk when you pick them. They react to each other, things like that. It's really awesome. But this is what you get when there's nothing to look forward to the game. You get this kind of screen, and that's what I want them to do better. I want the next game to be improved, even if it's a sequel to this, or if we get a fighter. But I think if we get a platform fighter, it needs to get more support and some more love, so players can be able to have some fun playing this game. And we're just going to keep it on here. I highly doubt I will be able to find a single player to load up in this game on the planet that's playing this right now. And I can guarantee you, there's no one playing this game. I'm the only one playing. No one else is talking about this and continuing to play it, because they got everything they wanted. They got all the characters, and they moved on to a completely different game. And that's something that I think they could improve on and learn the lesson of trying to get the players engaged. See how it's trying to find players? It's not going to find anybody. So it's just empty. It's dead. It's lost its flavor and its momentum within a weekend, within a snap of a finger, just like that. And that's something that I don't want to see happen with this game. If they come out with a new DreamWorks game, it can be bigger and better. It can be able to improve. I'm going to go back to the garage so you guys can see the characters. It needs more. So now, enough about this game. The only thing we're going to be talking about is just references some of the characters that's on the game that we have on the screen that's different, that we have so far from this game. All the characters that's in this game can get into the next game, into a DreamWorks platform fighter. Now, quite a few of these characters did not exist in a Shrek SuperSlam, and we didn't have Kung Fu Panda characters. It was only strictly Shrek characters. It had nothing to do with any other DreamWorks animation or any sort of DreamWorks film whatsoever. It was only exclusively Shrek characters that were involved in this game. Correct me if I'm wrong, because judging from the characters, we had Donkey. Fiona had two different versions of her, like this one that you guys could see, and then the other one before, when Shrek rescued her from the castle. So now let's start talking about what can this game learn from Shrek SuperSlam, and what it can also take from this game all into one, to have a great title with new updates, characters that people can get excited for. And now it just doesn't have to stop here. See how she's just moving around? They're gonna get excited, do a backflip, things like that, because the game's gonna get some support. It's gonna get the characters that people want and have been asking for, and they want to really be able to experience this game to see if it has if they tap into the potential, because most of these games continue to just stop. The train stops and they just keep running into that brick wall because they just don't take care of the game, and they don't care about trying to make it better and listen to the fans to try to bring the characters that they want, instead of just having a game come out and just disappear. Let's start talking about the different improvements that they can do. And I did my research just looking at Shrek SuperSlam, watching the gameplay, and seeing what all it has to offer. So we're going to start talking about some of the things that I want to see the game have, and alongside every character getting into this game. We're not going to cut anyone from this roster. Let's bring everybody in here. I'm curious, I don't know about Boss Baby being a playable character. They'll probably take out Tina and Theodore, because I'm not sure how they would play. They'll probably be in the background. Maybe they can just have their stages implemented, because he knows some tricks. He's a little bit slick. He's smart, and he's the boss, as it says. He's no ordinary typical baby, but I probably definitely wouldn't want him getting into the game, considering they're babies. So let's try to think outside of the boss baby reps. They can get a stage instead to play on the safe side, and these kind of characters like Master Shifu, with all the combat potential and moveset potential, it'll be awesome to see these characters get in. So let's just start talking about things. What could be added? What could be brought back from this game, and then Shrek SuperSlam? So those two games being references. Cutscenes should definitely return, and something that really caught my attention from watching Shrek SuperSlam, this game didn't have any cutscenes. This game doesn't have any cutscenes whatsoever. The characters do have voice lines, and they talk to each other, which is awesome. But they don't have cutscenes, and there's no sort of kind of story mode in this. I was very surprised to see that SuperSlam had cutscenes, and I think it'd be awesome to see them added into a brand new game with voice acting, just like this game has. Unique interactions is something that I liked from this game from DreamWorks All-Star Kart Racing. The unique interactions that SuperSlam doesn't have. So these unique interactions of how they work, for example, like I'll use Poe, for example. Poe never even met Shrek a day in his life. It hasn't been any sort of crossover or anything like that. It's cool as it'll be able to see Shrek and Kung Fu Panda crossover, but we got these kind of games to really make it happen in the video game world. But Poe has a reaction to Shrek. Shrek talks to Poe, and vice versa. With some of these other characters that know each other, like Farquaad, and then Farquaad say, "Get back to the swamp." Silly ogre, get back to the swamp. That's one of his part of his reactions. And then Alex talking to Megamind. Hey, Megamind! He says it like he knows him, but he never seen this character. He never seen Megamind, and he hasn't existed in his movie whatsoever. But I like the energy. He talks to the character like he knows him. Hey, Megamind! I like how they added that in this game, and they all talk to each other. A king to a king. King Gristle and King Julian. And he acknowledges him as a king and apologizes if he runs. Sorry, king. They acknowledge each other as a king, but both as kings themselves. See how they had a little animation? It's awesome to see that. They acknowledge each other. So I like what they had in this game, and that's something that I'm looking for the next DreamWorks game. It can go either way, a racing game or a platform fighter, but in a platform fighter, ideally, when the characters run into each other, it'll be awesome to see these kind of special interactions when they run into each other. This kind of game has it, and so many other characters could have got in to really be able to react to each other. Astra even talks to Diane, and so much more. It's all the different imaginations that you can. It's just it's what makes the game stand out, and it's something this game had over Kart Racers 3 that it did not have. This game had those reactions and the characters talking to each other, which I like. The energy, every character has energy. None of them sounds boring or stale and not so unenthusiastic and disinterested in what they're doing. The voice actors, even if not all of them are OG, like Mike Myers, for example, sounds completely different for Shrek. But the voice acting is there, the energy is there, the vibes. It's great to see this. See how Shrek flexing? He can be able to get back into another fighter. Now, from watching Shrek SuperSlam, it didn't have boss battles, so I wanted to implement those. I wanted to go to the challenges real quick, because I'm going to start talking about these. Shrek SuperSlam does not have any boss battles whatsoever. They don't. And in this, got boss matches. Let's just use him as an example. See, King Julian, let's just show them all. King Julian, Diane, see it all says it. Defeat Diane Faisal in a boss race. How about a boss battle and a boss fight and an epic challenge to be able to challenge Diane She got some good moves, and she's a combat specialist with martial arts. She got some moves. She's definitely going to be somebody that you can really be able to challenge. And let's get out. Let's stop limiting the games to almost. I thought I clicked on something. Let's stop limiting the game to like 6 characters. Let's get more bosses, and it deserves more. It's only 6 bosses. You'll be done with it in less than 24 hours. It needs to get more content so people can really be able to have more to get involved with. Tier 6. See? And to unlock the boss challenges, you had to complete the challenges, a certain amount of challenges that will unlock the boss challenge for you to challenge them. And once you defeat them, you get the character unlocked. Defeat the boss, get a new character. So that could be something that could be brought back and added into the next platform fighter for DreamWorks All-Star Brawl. Or DreamWorks platform fighter and what have you. A new DreamWorks animation platform fighter that can have boss battles. Shrek SuperSlam didn't have it. They didn't have boss battles. It had a story mode, which I liked. That can also make a return, but no bosses. They're just, these boss battles can be showdowns. As something else that I noticed that I wanted to bring and add into this video today, costumes and alternate skins, which I also was surprised with that existed in SuperSlam. This game doesn't have costumes as different skins, and I'll use an example. Like he had costumes of his own, but they were color variations. He had white, red, I think he had white, blue, and another one. And then another character like Prince Charming, who doesn't exist in this game. He didn't make it into this game. He was in that game for a part of one of the playable characters in that roster. He had quite a few skins. He had a different knight armor piece to his armor of what he was wearing. And then he had color variations with blue, yellow, and red. So they can do that for those characters and bring back the costumes. Shrek can have his little knight armor as a little idea. And then characters like Donkey was Drunky. Drunky, I think his name was. If I'm not mistaken. Drunky was a playable character alongside of Donkey, but it was 2 different versions of him. So that could be something that could be an alternate skin for him, potentially, instead of being a separate fighter, for example, and then Fiona having 2 different ones. So in this, I noticed the different colors that you could switch to for the characters in SuperSlam. That can be able to be brought back with alternate skins. Fiona can have 2 different versions of herself, but as a costume instead of being 2 separate character slots. Because since it had 20 characters for the base roster, another version of Fiona was basically another slot. So that slot could have been given to someone else from Shrek, but I don't know who else could have got picked up. Pinocchio was a playable fighter. The Gingerbread Man was a playable fighter. It was awesome to see all that. And even some of the other characters that I don't remember. Kasimoto, I think, who was picked up. The Black Knight was also a playable character. They can do all that. That can really be able to attract the players and be able to unlock the costumes. And you can spend time playing as the character. And I'm glad I'm in the garage, because see how the challenges, you guys won't be able to see them. Let's just use a different character to put on the spotlight, like Hiccup, for example. See how Toothless, look at this car. See Toothless, he's a car. He could be a playable character as well, for example. But you guys can't see you guys won't be able to see the challenges. Sleep on the spotlight. But for these wheels, you had to do a significant amount of challenges. Like for the DreamWorks wheels, for example, you had to play as the character in the Lightning Cup, and they had unlock conditions. Of course they're not going to be online unlockables. They won't need to do that and make that same mistake they did from a previous game that they did. But in this game, it didn't have online unlockables. You had to put significant time into the character to unlock the certain car parts, and the different car parts from the engine, spoilers, the wheels, and then the different carts. The cart designs from the chassis as well that y'all can see. See the stats, I didn't mean to move them. You had to spend time playing as the character actively to get the certain unlockables for that particular character, and the same thing followed suit with different characters that could get in that got into this game and more that were able to be unlockable from you unlock playing as the character in certain modes and doing certain things for objectives. That was something else that I would like to see, and they can do that for the skins as an idea. So costumes, alternate skins, that could be something that can be implemented into the game and brought back. And then playing as the characters to be able to unlock them so they not unlocked right off the bat. Let's be able to have the players play and earn the characters, and some of them can be unlocked, but it'll give the players something to do once they load up the game instead of having everything unlocked. Let's be able to have lock some of the characters behind certain conditions outside of the online to have the players play and put time into the game to earn their unlockables for their favorite characters and favorite fighters that they're looking to main to go be competitive players and more. So the costumes was something that was in it. But I'm going to get into the game modes now. It had its story, it had its own story mode for single player content, and you can also unlock the characters as you progress. Just as I mentioned, the characters can be earned and unlocked from just playing the game, and they can be able to be experiencing the game to unlock certain things, skins and costumes that they're looking to earn for their favorite fighters and characters, which I like. I would love to see a story mode. I'm not sure how they'll be able to implement it, because this game could possibly have all types of different DreamWorks animation characters, maybe with all the sorts of different antagonists, like Far Cry and many others having an agenda of their own to try to really take over the world to get everything that they want for world domination and really be able to deal with Shrek once for all and eliminate him, because he's been a nuisance and really put a thought in his plans of really trying to get the attention of Fiona for the princess himself. So a mode that I saw from just watching, I'm just talking about things that I mentioned, well, that I saw from Shrek SuperSlam that can be brought back and adding additional updates to it to make it better. The Mega Challenge mode was different from the challenge modes that you guys could see from this game. The Mega Challenge mode had you move across the map, and just the way it was designed from the user interface and things like that, you were able to fight in both regular battles and fights with specific objectives that also contain items. You could also use the stage environment and the items during the battle to really do more damage and complete certain conditions. Like from one video I had watched from one of the challenges, it said grab the puppet head and keep it away from Pinocchio within the time limit, where you had to go one-on-one and you played as Shrek. It was Shrek versus Pinocchio in a one-on-one challenge, but the objective was to keep the head away from Pinocchio, from at least keeping it away from him within the time limit to really complete the challenge. So you were able to unlock characters from this challenge mode, also the Mega Challenge mode it was called, from this game, that can be brought back with additional challenges to really be able to unlock characters like Ruby Gilman and other characters. And I have some other ideas for the DLC that you guys see for some of the other characters that can join in from the design itself. I came up with a tournament mode, but I wanted to make it a little bit better than what they had for Shrek SuperSlam. So the tournament mode, but it can have online. And I took this from Dragon Ball Z Budokai to create my own format for the tournament, where they can add a bracket of fighters where you could be able to compete against friends. So someone can play Far Cry, Alex the Lion, Tai Lung, for example, who's not in the game. Toothless, for example, who could be a nice little character that can stay in the air, like Ridley from Super Smash Bros. And things like that, that can fly and be able to dive into you and things like that. He can be and breathe fire with different abilities. He'll be nice as a little example. Different characters in a tournament, and it can have a winners and losers bracket for a little bit of an idea. I just like putting different characters on this. But a winner and losers bracket where you can play with friends and online against others around the world. So even if you lose that first round, you get knocked down into the loser's bracket to really be able to make that comeback, and you can get your revenge and get your rematch on someone who beat you in one of the matches to really try to redeem yourself and try to win that tournament. So you can boost your rank and things like that. A rank mode that can be implemented with this tournament mode that I came up with as an idea. Shrek SuperSlam did have a tournament mode of its own, but it was only where you would just take on 3 characters from different rounds, and they each had different objectives that you had to complete. But that was it for the tournament mode. It didn't play like an actual tournament. It was just a series of 3 rounds where you can be able to try to get the most slam points, get a certain amount of slams to really defeat your opponent and do certain objectives, just like I mentioned with Shrek and Pinocchio, from that one as a mission objective to really move on to the next round. And then you'd be able to take on a different character from Pinocchio, the Gingerbread Man, Donkey, Fiona, and other characters that were in it that was playable in that game from the roster and be able to unlock them that way. But I wanted to give the tournament mode a different look, so other characters like Grandmaster Uwe, you would be able to run into some of these other different characters that didn't really get in to Shrek SuperSlam and more that can be in this platform fighter. And just from the gameplay alone, just to talk about it and touch base on it, the gameplay and the method of scoring points from the previous game from this Super Slam was landing hits to fill up your character's slam meter, and by filling it, you can unleash a super attack. And it was only by successfully being able to use a super attack like Shrek's little gassy move that had a good amount of range for his super attack. Only by doing this, you can actually score points or the slam points, and this could be something that can return super attacks from new characters from these new animations. And you know Poe's gonna say skadoosh. He can say that when he uses his super attack. They can bring those back into the game. It'll be really deadly, and he can really be able to just go crazy on the battlefield with his moves. I feel like a lot of people would pick him. The Dragon Warrior himself, the Kung Fu Master. So it's a lot of other characters that can be able to have their own super attacks. And just think of the imagination. You know, Hiccup can bring Toothless. If, let's say, for example, Toothless isn't playable, Hiccup can barely be able to summon Toothless to be able to ride Toothless and be able to cause some havoc on the battlefield and things like that. It'll be cool to really see some of this happen. As a little bit of an idea. Some of these characters. She has her own abilities. See, with the axe and things like that. Donkey with silly fun. Megamind. See what kind of weapon he's holding. He can use this on the battlefield with his own moveset, and he can have a super energy blast that can disintegrate enemies and destroy them for a nice little super to get some points, rack up some slams and knockouts. So this is just something that I wanted to just really be able to talk about as far as the gameplay, and they can change it. If they want to add a percentage or a damage meter or health bar and things like that, they can do that. And you know, just like Super Smash Bros, All-Star Brawl, other platform fighters and things like that, you can see the percentage. And I know it's different for Brawlhalla because the darker the red, if the meter or the bar is red, that character or that fighter can be launched further. The more they take damage. Brawlhalla is a little bit different with that because it doesn't have a percentage. It has that bar that you can really be able to keep an eye on. So the deeper the red or the darker, if once the bar reaches a red meter, you could be able to launch them and eliminate them to try to score. But you got to rack up a good amount of combos and damage and things like that. They can have the slam meter return. And then last but not least, let's start talking about the post-launch content for this game that it can get. See some of the characters that y'all see from clicking on it, from the design and from this game alone. Let's get some post-launch content where we can be able to be excited about new content, so players can really be able to be involved with the game and find out what's next. where they just don't have it come out and it has 25, 30 characters, 25 to 30 characters, and that's it. And maybe like a DLC season pass concluding at 4 characters. We don't want that. We want to have continuous season pass, a season pass for players to click on to really be able to check out and be able to be excited for the next character reveals and teasers and spotlight videos for people to really find out about the characters. And it can go beyond the 2 to 4 characters that they've been constantly doing for some of these games. It's been a pattern. It happened in Nickelodeon Cars 3. 2 characters, Zuko and Eastman Laird Raphael, who didn't even belong in the game. And then they did it for this game with Grandmaster Oogway and Death Wolf, or Wolf himself. We didn't. It's 2 characters for back-to-back games. 2 different racing games, 2 different worlds. Nickelodeon DreamWorks, 2 characters, and then All Star Brawl 2 had 4 characters. It was nothing else after that. They gotta stop. I want them to stop that, and I want them to have more to bring to the table for future content, so they can continue to work on the game that they have and bring out more of the characters that people want. Fan demand. Look at the most wanted characters that people are looking for. Look at what characters that people are wanting the most, while adding other characters that can get added from new reps and additional reps from the world. Kung Fu Panda, for example. Look at these characters. So you got Shifu, Tigers, and Po. That's 3 different characters. Tai Lung didn't even get into this game, and he's an iconic character from Kung Fu Panda that the fans out there love. He didn't make it into this game, but he can get picked up as new updates come in, and for a new DLC, paid DLC, so the developers make money, and a season pass where people can purchase the next pass, and then a roadmap that can be posted via Twitter and also shared on Discord. We gotta get a Discord server for the developers to be able to engage with the fans in the community, because when you don't engage, you guys saw what happened. I almost forgot they were on this. You got Bridger and Gristle right here with the art. You saw what happened from that little lobby. It's gonna be empty. Players move on, and they're gonna get bored, and they're not gonna be interested in playing the game and supporting. We need a Discord server for the developers to be able to talk to the community, so players can be able to connect with the developers, ask questions. Different channels in the server can really be able to have bugs to be reported, emergencies that are game breaking, bugs and issues that are causing problems, causing the game to crash, for performance issues that could be reported, and the developers could be able to go right into that channel and find out what's going on, answer questions, and a dedicated channel for players to be able to talk to each other about their favorite characters that they want, a wish list channel, so the developers can know what the fans are looking for, and a tier list people can be able to make. And as the buffs and nerfs get added into these characters, they can really be able to have something to really be able to look at, find out what needs to get addressed. If some character is broken and overpowered, those characters can really be able to get fixed and changed within the next patch. And if something's going on online with bugs in the stages, or something that isn't working properly, quality of life fixes are gonna really be able to be addressed in a Discord server. This game did not have a Discord server, and that's something that really is sickening. It didn't have, not even just a Discord server, it didn't have a page where you can be able to get to find out what's new, whether or not we're gonna get updates for this game. You just load up the game, start playing, and then there wasn't anything else for you to get into. Yes, it was just too limited. There's nothing else. There was no any point of playing the time trial, because there was nothing locked behind it. It's just an option for you to get there to play as, and you can skip it because there's no character locked behind the time trial. There's no trophy that pertains to the time trial, and there's no unlockable or any sort of reward that you get from the time trial. You're just playing it just to play it at this point with this kind of mode. So it needs to get more modes and things like that, so players can be able to get excited for some of this stuff, and players can connect with one another. This is something that I want to put strong emphasis on. Players will be able to connect with one another to really be able to create lobbies. So, and this game can have crossplay, of course, but they want to make some friends, connect with people, and invite people for customs and things like that. They can meet new players and learn from each other for new tips and tricks for some of these characters to really find out more about a character that they did not already know and get to know each other. It brings the community together. That's how you build a game, with a community that can talk to each other, that's friendly, that get along with each other, that's competitive, and also they can report issues and communicate with the developers to really find out what's going on with the game, and everyone can stay in the light. So if Discord is your go-to and you don't use Twitter, you can still be able to find out what's going on, and vice versa for Twitter users out there, and they can also post up on their channels to really be able to have the videos get posted to really find out what's going on for some of these games, and find out what's going on for some of these characters, to find out what's next for the future. If things get changed, if things are getting delayed, the proper communication is there, and this could be a great game that can strive. It can grow with new characters, challenges, stages, items, and items for players to experiment, and so much more. It could be more challenges, and every character that joins the roster, for example, can have its own unique item, a stage with that particular fighter, if possible. New stages, a new item that references the DreamWorks animation or the DreamWorks series or movie or the character. So even if it's not an item, it can have a stage implemented, and then it's a paid DLC, so the developers make money and they can add on new challenges for the characters. So unique exclusive challenges that you can play and expand with more unlockables for the costumes. A new character comes in, you gotta unlock the costumes, you could try out the stage, and you could check them out online. You could practice with them in a training room, things like that. They got all that kind of stuff that can make this game great. It can definitely grow. There's no way this game can't happen. You got a game like this with 20 great characters. Look at these characters again. You got a game like this that didn't even get any support. It just dropped, and then it dropped off right after, within a couple of days. It didn't get anything else. This game doesn't have crossplay. So with crossplay, tournament, and all the different characters and items and changes, it can be a great game for everyone to be able to experience, and people can look forward to the future where it doesn't have to stop at 2 to 4 characters. There's a lot of other amazing DreamWorks characters from the past and the present that can join this roster to make it great. People can really be able to give their feedback and talk about the characters that they want to see next, and it can help the developers figure out which characters they want to push for next, instead of having this individual selfish mentality of trying to push the characters that you think people might want. Listen to the community. See what happens to Multiverses. Hate to bring it up. See what happened? It was an individual decision that caused that game to fall. It faltered and it fell off, and it just couldn't get the momentum because one person was making the decisions and wasn't thinking about everyone else. They weren't thinking about the community. See what the end result was? And it's going to continue to be like that when they don't listen to the community and try to take the feedback and the ideas from what the community wants and implement them, while also improving the game and changing things that need to get changed and fixing things that need to get fixed. It's going to make the game better. But you guys can post the characters you guys want to see if you think it's going to happen. I'm not sure if it will. It's possible they could be working on something with this game for a sequel or a new fighter. Maybe we could see it the next year. We just don't know. It's just a big mystery. But this is just something I definitely want to see happen with all these different characters. It doesn't have to be Shrek exclusive characters, which SuperSlam was all about. It was only Shrek characters. There was no other movies and other DreamWorks series involved. It could be so much better with all sorts of characters to be able to get in for an ultimate crossover with future content and continuous updates.